Courier-Post. We're going to say good morning to him and talk a little football. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for taking the earlier time slot. Hope you're awake enough to give us some insight.
Absolutely, man. I rolled out of bed, and I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
I'm ready to go, Sully.
Before we get started, tell us about your Twitter and your hats off. I like that neat little thing. You wear these funky hats out to games, and the star player gets the Mark Trible Hats Off Award.
Yeah, I wear a fedora, and whoever plays best gets a picture with it on, and me shaking their hand. I don't know how much of an honor it really is, but I was telling someone last night. Someone was kind of busting my chops about it. I bought that hat, and I'll give you the abridged version, but I bought that hat to go to a Halloween party when I first started writing for LSU was playing Alabama, and it had like a 1970s blazer on. I was going to go as Bear Bryant.
Oh, okay.
And when I got to the party, nobody except the guy who invited me even watched football. So people came up to me all night and said, "Oh, are you a reporter?" I said, "Yeah." Then they started talking. I said, "No, I'm not dressed as a reporter. I just am a reporter." So then after that, I realized if that's the connection people make, maybe it's not a bad idea to wear it.
Maybe the younger generation has no idea who Bear Bryant was.
Exactly. So it's worked out good. It's a cool thing. It's a cool little stick. And the kids have fun with it. I have fun with it, and we tweet that out every Friday night.
The boy last week had a look on his face like, "What the heck is with this hat?"
Yeah, I think I've only had one kid who said he didn't want to wear it, and I kind of had to force to put it on last year. But yeah, I mean, it's always funny to see. Sometimes people come up before the game, and last night, Kyle Dobbins got it. His mother came up before the game and said, "I want Kyle to get the hat." Well, I mean, it's not really in a way it is up to me, but in another way it's up to Kyle, and Kyle deserved it. So that worked out well. So it's interesting to see how people react to it. Some people want it, some people don't.
I like it, man. Stay with it. It's pretty cool. It's a fun little thing on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it. It's gray. It's not salmon. I know you like the salmon stuff, but we're gonna stick with the gray hat, and we'll move forward from there.
Salmon Florentine, I like. That's a nice dish.
Absolutely.
Mark, let's talk about the prep. You were at that game last night. Looking at the score this morning, kind of an eye popper. I didn't think they would beat Williamstown by that much, but kind of shows you what prep is all about this year.
Well, I thought they'd probably beat them, and I thought it would. It had a possibility to get out of hand, just because Williamstown's young. They'd lost the starter on the offensive line. They lost another kid in the backfield going into the game. So you're already young at the skill positions, which is really where St. Augustine thrives. I'm not taking anything away from them in the trenches, but their skill position players are unbelievable. And when you looked at Williamstown, a little inexperienced on the outside. J.C. Collins will be good at quarterback, but he's still a young kid. And so it was tough to see if they would be able to keep up scoring-wise. And then, like I said, you get a couple dings. St. Augustine really, last night, I mean, on all three phases, just showed how good they could be. I was very impressed with them because they didn't start well. It was 7-3 in the first quarter. They'd had a fumble. Williamstown had been in the red zone twice, and it didn't really matter. I mean, like you said, they won the game 48-10, and it was 7-3 after the first quarter. They just turned on the afterburners. I mean, they just wore them down on every facet of the game. So I was very impressed with the Hermits. Yeah,
and they're obviously one of the top teams, I guess, depending on which poll you read. Preston Atlantic City has them number one. You guys, I think, have Timber Creek number one, correct?
Yes, we do. We have Creek number one and St. Augustine number two. And St. Joe comes in at 5 right now, I think, behind Cedar Creek and West Effort. I believe that's how it is. I'm not exactly sure, but I know there's top two. That's the order.
Timber Creek had a tough challenge against Cherokee last night.
Yeah, they did. And talking to Kevin Minnick, obviously, he was there. He said that it was a really good game. And now you look at Creek's schedule, Timber Creek's schedule. the first two games, they had Delsey, which obviously they handled, blew them out. And then this game against Cherokee, which was tight. But after that, things kind of slowed down a little bit for them. Their schedule, I don't want to say the rest of the way, but for the next few weeks, it looks like it'll be more advantageous. So if they got through those first two big tests, I would suspect that they're going to stay on top of our rankings, at least for a little bit here.
We're talking with Mark Trible, the Courier-Post. Mark, talk about today's game at noon, Holy Spirit versus St. Joe. I mean, Holy Spirit came in and really gave St. Joe all they could handle last year in the playoffs, only lost 14-0, and they have a lot of guys back, a lot of offensive weapons. This could be a tough test for St. Joe.
Yeah, I know the quarterback down in Holy Spirit is a pretty confident man at the helm. Was it Costable? Is that his name?
Yep, Mike Costable.
And just from talking to St. Joe before the season, I haven't seen him yet this year. Kevin's seen him, and he'll see him again today. But St. Joe, this was one of the dates they had circled. I mean, certainly when you're talking about St. Augustine, talking about this game, St. Joe's certainly geared up for this one. It's hard to bet against Sacco. Coach Sacco, obviously we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I certainly wouldn't do it. But that being said, this is a big-time game. I mean, second week of the season, and sometimes on Saturday the games can get lost a little bit in the shuffle, but huge game, and it should be a good one. It should be a good one, honestly. Like you said, last year in the playoffs it was tight, and Holy Spirit would love nothing more than to beat St. Joe.
Oh, that'd be a huge win for them, for sure.
Absolutely.
Mark, what caught your eye last night? Anything jump off the page at you?
Well, I think I hadn't seen Dobbins up close, but I love the quarterback, Joshua Zamat. He was fantastic, and he could really do it all. Shamir Collins was great defensively, but Dobbins impressed me because when you see the stats, you read the stories, and you're not really sure what you're going to get out of a kid. There's some kids who can go for $150 on 6 touches in high school football. But the thing I really was impressed with Dobbins was his ability to grind out yards, 176 on 33 carries and a touchdown. And his pad level, I mean, once he gets through that line of scrimmage, his pad level is so low. And he's a compact type of dude. His pad level gets so low. I mean, he just keeps grinding. And when St. Augustine needed to find its footing last night, and I'm not suggesting they were ever in trouble because I don't think they were, but when they needed to find their footing, they just kept giving him the rock. And it's hard to blame him because he gives you that consistency. He's going to get 4, he's going to get 6, he's going to get 7. And it was really something they could hang, no pun intended, but they could hang their hat on.
And what really makes him and True Robinson even more impressive is they both play both ways. I mean, you got True Robinson as a running back who also plays defensive line. You don't see that too often.
No, you don't. And that kid was impressive, too. And I'll tell you what, man. I mean, they just, Zeke Ennis was impressive. And here's the thing. You go back through the box score, you can go back and read the story, but they blocked 2 punts last night. And there was another punt where the Williamstown punter dropped the snap and ran for his life to the sideline and somehow got a kickoff. It was a miraculous play. But they blocked 2 punts. They had 2 interceptions, they blocked 2 punts, and they had over 350 yards of offense. They did it every which way last night. Like you said, Robinson was great. Collins was great defensively. Ennis scooped up the block punt and scored. Zamat was great. Josh Dades had a 76-yard touchdown catch that opened the scoring for them. He's listed as a linebacker. I guess he does some tight end work stuff too for them. And they were very, very impressive. I came away. I was certainly all A pluses for St. Augustine last night.
There you go. That's the official Mark Trible report card. Good.
Looks a little bit better than mine used to look.
Yeah, right. A good early season report card on the prep. Good stuff. We're up against the break, Mark. Appreciate you checking in, and we'll check in with you throughout the season.
Hey, thanks, Sully. Always a blast, man.
You got it, man. Have a good weekend.
You too.
That was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.